Hello. Are you looking for a way to run an incredible meeting with a client that's going to lead to better stack and best practice adoption, help reduce that ticket noise, help get the clients more successful with less risk to them, help your team have less noise across supporting multiple different technologies and really get standardized on one specific stack and best practice checklist? So we're going to show you how to do that here today. I know it's not always easy. There's a lot of different things coming at you and your team all the time. I mean, how do we standardize? What are the best practices? What technology should we be using? And how do we communicate that effectively to the client that doesn't seem transactional and salesy? So we want you to make sure that this is something that they're going to be engaged in, the clients are going to be engaged in, your staff are going to be empowered to want to deliver, and the result is going to be better sales, increased adoption, less churn, happier clients, happier staff, less noise, fewer tickets, better utilization across from an efficiency perspective. I mean, there's just so many benefits to this. So let's jump into it now. I'm going to go into one of my clients here and share with you just an example of one of the reports that's already been completed. Super straightforward to complete these. They're just templated, so it doesn't take much to actually get them done. And let's go down here. Now, I think reports is probably even the wrong name for this. This is really a scripted conversation. It's not really designed, although it can be delivered on paper, it's not really designed to just be dropped on someone's desk. The idea here is you've built out a storyboard. You've built out a conversation, not a presentation. And you want to get your clients engaged in that. So however you're doing this, it's made up of widgets. So you can drop different widgets into here. So if you wanted to add a service selector or category results or a content widget or a scorecard, and there's a bunch of other ones. Some can only be in reports once, some can be in there multiple times. And you want to have a section for an executive overview. That's using a content widget, which means you can get right into here and just start typing notes or the overview or anything like that, summary results. You can embed other applications into here. You know, if you're using an awesome tool like BrightGauge, you can embed gauges, you can embed dashboards in here so you can share with the client in a really unified way information out of other systems. This is just a screenshot. I don't have a live BrightGauge account right now, but give you just an idea. You can do that, and then you can just close it off when you're done talking about that and just minimize it. Keep the conversation rolling in a nice clean way with fewer distractions. Templatize your meeting agendas. So one of the easiest ways to empower your team to run a great meeting and to duplicate information that you probably already have is to script it for them. And then they're not trying to be ad hoc or off the cuff in how they deliver the meeting. So again, you can type in here if something comes up and you want to just add in a quick note or a widget or a section to this, you can come down here and drop something in. You can drop in videos and links and tables and charts and graphs and horizontal lines. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say maybe it came up in the conversation. We want to go through a project change request. And so that's all templated right there and just dropped it right in. So that's my meeting agenda. Now I'm going to get into the overall health review. So I probably started this report when I first onboarded this client. And I've been reviewing it with them. It's a living, breathing thing. It's not just a paper document, right? So I've had this now since Q1 of 2018 is when we onboarded this client. Looks like they were in pretty rough shape in terms of our standardization back then. And by Q2, we had gotten them up to a 21, so gradually onboarded them. By this year, though, we had them up to a 64, so they were in the green with a target of 100. And this is based on their understanding of where technology could take them. Now, currently today, they've got a score of 60, so it's actually dropped a little bit since May. There's a few reasons why that could happen. In this example, we've added new technologies to our stack. So we went to a big event and we saw something shiny and we said, we've got to start providing that to all of our clients. So we added it into here. And because the client doesn't have that yet, could be multi-factor authentication, could be password management, could be something else. Because the client doesn't currently have that, but now we're saying this is now a standard, their actual score has fallen a little bit. So, and by the way, these are all snapshots, so you can always go back to every previous report or iteration of this report that you've done, and just go back and be able to show that to the client. And if you need to, you can make tasks out of these sections. If something comes up and you need to make a task, which is essentially a ticket, something to resolve this, so check on something, and make notes about it, put hours into it and a deadline for it. You can do that. That's, by the way, going to go up onto a tasks widget, and you can then follow up on that. You can export that out as tickets into your PSA. So let's go back down here. I'm going to minimize some of these, just get rid of some of the noise, clean up my overall report a little bit. A lot of times when we're doing this, we are doing this up on the projector, up on the big screen in the boardroom with the client. Remember, we want to keep it conversational. You might bring in a second monitor or something like that. Much better experience than printing it off, although you can. But here we're showing them, here's where you're healthy, and here's where you're less healthy. Here's where you actually have some gaps, and based on what we would consider best practices and adoption of technologies. And I'm not going to get into the roadmap here right now. There's some other great videos about that. But you can see the actual assessment here. So if I click into endpoint protection, it's going to take me right down there, and I can start to look at, well, where they're at. They're using some other antivirus or malware solution, so we want to recommend our preferred solution, so I've gone and recommended that here, and that's put that recommendation up on their roadmap. They're using some other kind of spam solution. Now, I haven't added this to the roadmap yet. It's still just sitting as a recommendation, but I'm going to go ahead and add that to the roadmap now. So you can see how I'm having this conversation. I'm building it out in such a way so that it's really interactive. Pop up to the top there and take a look at that recommendations roadmap, and you can see now I've got that the antivirus solution on there. I've got the spam filtering recommendation on there. And now I can start to prioritize with the client, and we can start to build out what quarters or months. They're already spending $15,000 in that quarter, so maybe that's not the right time to do that. But it looks like we've got a little bit of room in Q4 here. So let's go and add that. If that's going to be a $5,000 project, now it's going to bring them up to that just under 15. And this helps them visualize their spend. So CEOs, CFOs, controllers, they love this. Because you can actually be proactive and strategic with them about tactical items. And you're really going to give them a great view into how you're impacting their business and driving success and mitigating risk as you go and deliver these. So move these through different ideation phases. So this is recommended now, or you know what, we don't even want to worry about it anymore. Let's take it off here, just put it back as just a general recommendation and take it out of the actual roadmap. So we might want to actually look at the hours for some of the deliverables of these as well, to see how many hours we're going to have to be doing and if we're capable of fulfilling on that. And we might want to look at all of the recommendations for this client across all of the reports. While this is a best practice and stack adoption template, you could have productivity assessments and application portfolio evaluation assessments and all of that. So you can see your whole portfolio of projects across your clients and actually across all of your clients now. Now the last little bit here is we want to be able to explain, well, what the heck are these different solutions? And because they're templated, and I can click into this and I can say, oh, I've got this great templated solution. It's fully customizable. I can edit it any way I want. I can also store marketing materials or sales materials in here. But one more step, depending on the PSA you're using, we can output the actual work plan now onto a project board. And so now your delivery team can actually go fulfill on this. So let's go back into here and take a look at explaining it to the client from a very high level. I've got my project scopes widget. So that's pulling that project scope now out of that template for each of these projects. And by the way, these are all pre-built. These are all in our solution set marketplace right now. So you can see all of these here. You can make your own. You can edit everything. It's very, very easy and user-friendly. So I'm going to go up to the top here. I'm going to pick what content I want to share. So maybe I want to have that bright gauge piece in there. And I come up here now. I'm going to go create a snapshot of this. So if you've seen our client engagement scoring system, I'm going to go list this as a QBR I delivered today, who I delivered this with, and I delivered this to Bob, and I'm going to hit OK. So that's creating a snapshot. That's incrementing up my client engagement score. So I have accountability. I've got a record. I know who I talked to on what day and what we talked about. And I can go ahead and share that report. I can print it. I can send them a tokenized link. And I can be really selective about the content that I put in there. So, you know, and if I had real bright gauges in here, they'd actually be live because it would be embedded through an iframe. So I hope that gives you an idea on how to provide a better experience when you're onboarding and then reviewing stack and best practice adoption with your clients, and how it's going to empower your team, how they're going to want to go and actually have these meetings, and not just with the noisy clients, but with everybody, and drive that project revenue and drive that monthly recurring revenue. So reduce that churn and you know, just drive that better experience for your clients. So I hope that really helped. And if you have any questions, feel free, set up an orientation call with us, watch a few more videos, check out our blog, and I will look forward to chatting with you soon. Thanks so much.